The latest ceasefire along the Gaza border between the Israelis and the Palestinians was unusually difficult to implement. The deadline passed, with each side continuing to fire while frantic calls were placed between Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. We have obtained an unauthorized recording of one of those phone calls, which reveals a groundbreaking new diplomatic exchange known only as Peace Tag.
Boss, is that you?
It is I. Is that you, Elmer?
Got you last.
No, I got you last.
No backsies.
No backsies forever.
No backsies infinity.
Stop firing at me.
I am not firing at you.
Yes, you are firing.
No, we're just looking at you with our guns.
Give me my settlement back.
It's my settlement.
No, it's mine, and you can't have it.
I'm telling Bush on you.
Not if I tell him first.
Last one to the email is a rotten shake.
This has been an exclusive report. Stay tuned for our follow-up tomorrow morning on Red Rover, Red China.
And now, from the studios of Renegade Talk Radio in Maui, Hawaii, and the southwestern Arizona desert, it's time for the RaunchFoxxFoxxcast. With your host, 6'10" RaunchFoxx, the smokescreen machine, Paullywood, and one slick bitch, NAtty C.
My God.
So sit back, strap in, and get ready for another great ride. Here's your host, RaunchFoxx.
All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? RaunchFoxx and RaunchFoxxFoxxcast, Renegade Talk Radio. This is episode number 8 already. What the hell is going on? Time flies when you're having fun. And here we are together again for the 8th time with a variation like a friggin' card deck. This week, we've got our resident alternative vaginal commentary with NAtty C and our conspirator, if you will. He's a little upset because of some wrestling news. We'll share that in just a little bit. Paullywood, who is he's the guy that he's going to be bringing it. He's going to be our smoke screen machine. So, hello, ladies and germs, and NAtty C, how are you?
I am fantastic. I have bathed in sanitizer due to a sick household, but I am ready to go tonight.
Bathed in sanitizer due to a sick household.
Yeah, so it's been one of those weeks.
You got the bug over there, do you?
I sure do. I don't, but everybody else does.
Yeah, I know.
So
last
I'm
night,
quarantined.
I know. Last night I was trying to have our weekly Skype phone sex call, and you said your kid was having some kind of a fever issue. You had to take him to the hospital.
Yeah. Honestly, we were on the phone. I was reaching for lube, and I grabbed some Lysol instead. That was weird.
It really was, but that menthol coolness is kind of funny, especially if you haven't used it before. Yeah, and it's cheaper than douche. Well, anyway, I hope everybody's okay now, and I hope you certainly didn't get it. You're around it all the time. They bring it in from the kids in the schools, and you said he had like 104 temperature, and what was he saying? He was like hallucinating, saw titties on the Titanic, or what was it?
Yeah, he said he was talking to me about pacifiers on the Pacific Rim.
Pacifiers on the Pacific Rim, titties on the Titanic. Okay. If you relate that to like Kim Kardashian's ass, Pacific Rim, Titanic. Yeah, that's right. I was close enough. Yeah. All right, good. Well, okay. Well, so you feeling okay? You going to be able to make it here for the next hour?
Oh, I'm so good to go. You have no idea.
Are
Let's
you sure?
do this.
I think Paulie's good to go too, if I'm not mistaken. Paullywood, what's happening, brother?
Oh, I am super excited for tonight's show, Raunch. You have no idea. But I plan on running a virus scan afterwards just to make sure I don't catch anything from Natalie in regards to her sickness. But, some somber news to report. Shall I get into that?
No, actually, this is my show. You wait your fucking turn. Anyway, so here he goes again. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to understand that Paullywood's got his own friends putting comments on our webpage. Paullywood's great. Paullywood's fucking fantastic. Paullywood's great. And then when I tell him about it, he says, well, how am I doing, Raj? How am I doing? I said, you're coming along. He thinks I was born yesterday, especially when it's like Uncle Bill, he's like, and then accidentally, he has a screenshot on the other night while we're on Skype, and in the background, I see him sending his fucking uncle $20 for saying nice shit on the fucking website. But anyway, Paulie, let's forget all of that bullshit. I don't want to let your cat out of the bag. Go ahead, tell us, man, because this Ultimate Warrior thing, even I knew who that was, and I'm not a big wrestling fan like you. So what happened?
Well, sadly, at the age of 54, on his way to his vehicle, while he was in the parking lot of a hotel, the Ultimate Warrior suffered a heart attack and pretty much just dropped dead. And really sad, because but at the same time, he had been on the outs with the WWE and with Vince McMahon for several years.
Right.
And they had just recently inducted him into the Hall of Fame on the night of WrestleMania just this past Sunday. And on Monday, he did an appearance on the latest edition of Monday Night Raw. And then the following morning, we got the tragic news that he'd just kind of collapsed. And that's, very sad. As people may or may not remember, Ultimate Warrior is known as being one of the first guys to beat Hulk Hogan at a WrestleMania, and it was supposed to be a really, really big, passing of the torch type event between the two. And he's going to be sorely missed.
Yeah,
he's going to be sorely missed.
I do remember him back in the day. I mean, I used to watch. I wasn't like an avid fan, but I remember everybody hawking. I'm old, so I go back to the days of Haystacks Calhoun and Bruno Sammartino and the Samoans and Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff and Ric Flair, back in their original younger days. I mean, that was my era. And did you ever hear of a guy named Bruno Sammartino back in those days?
Absolutely. I mean, you can't really come up in the 80s without hearing about Bruno Sammartino and Gorilla Monsoon.
Right.
Haystacks
Calhoun.
Haystacks Calhoun.
Tito Santana. I don't know. I'm just throwing names out there.
But you see, it was a different era. Once Hulk Hogan got started and the whole Hulkamania thing kind of took over, and this is the last I really want to say about it. But what he did was he took something that was kind of in the smoky American Legion halls and kind of brought it to the forefront of Americana. He brought it to making Hulkamania a household name, and so there was a bit of a transformation for the industry, and the Ultimate Warrior was a huge part of that as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, a big shock. Rest in peace, Ultimate Warrior. And he resided out here in our state, Natty. See, he's from Arizona, or he was living in Arizona.
Yep, he sure was.
So, rest in peace. You never know, because, I got to be honest with you, there was so much going around about Twitter, about fake, another celebrity death hoax, this and that, because there was a few about him, or he had a couple himself. Prior to that, it was almost like the boy that cried wolf. So then when it actually happened, not only was it ironic, nobody believed it for a while until I saw it. And Paulie, as well as you, we were frantically looking all over the internet last night with all these second-rate websites that you never know who to believe anyway. And then we saw it on ABC News, and that pretty much confirmed it.
Yeah, and you're right about that too. I remember that in the late 80s and early 90s, when he actually vanished for a couple of years, when he was not welcome, in either of the promotions, there was a rumor that he had died. And of course, in those days, you didn't really have the access to the internet and the information superhighway, so you really couldn't confirm these things. But
right.
You're 100% correct there, Raunch.
Right. So you're the wrestling fan, though. You keep it real. So. Well, I don't know if any of you are basketball fans. I know, Natty, you're kind of tall, but, the Final Four and the NCAA championship Monday night. Congratulations, Connecticut. UConn beat Kentucky for the NCAA championship, as you know. Thousands of students, they actually took to the streets with the celebration morphing into a riot. Okay, it was in a riot. It included fireworks. They started flipping cars. I mean, there was a good deal of property damage after that win. And this happens actually every time college students are told that the Los Angeles Lakers won a championship. So, I guess this year we're not going to have to worry about that too much. Also, I don't know if you remember the Reverend in what was called the Mega Church. His name was Reverend Bob Coy. He's actually resigned over affairs and pornography. And when he talks about the good book, Natty, he's actually talking about 50 Shades of Grey. So. Guess who's going to retire? Guess what lady news reporter and had her own show, and she's been around for years interviewing some of the best and actually has banged some important people along the way. Who do you think is going to retire from television on May 16th?
Barbara Walters?
Baba Wawa, yes. Baba Wawa. Barbara Walters is retiring from television on May 16th. Now, when she began in broadcasting, the audience consisted of two demos, Adam and Eve. And, of course, there was only one prior to that, and that was Mr. Suspender himself, Larry King. Also, North Korea. I don't know if you heard about this, with all the space talk. They've got their own space agency now. And they hope to go where no North Korean has gone before. Of course, that's an all-you-can-eat buffet. Hey, what were we talking about, Paulie? A scientist, Natty, listen to this. They discovered ancient shrimp-like creatures that have well-developed heart and blood vessels. And kind of spooky stuff, but this is true stuff. But sadly, they would have no flavor if they were cooked at the Olive Garden. So. Also, there's a new talent search initiative over at NBC. It's called the Comedy Playground, where they want to find fresh comedy voices through a talent search. This is the first time in a long time that NBC and the word comedy have actually been used in the same sentence. Oh, also, you talk about people dying, people being killed off, the end of careers. Comic book character Archie. He's going to be killed off in a July issue. You listening to what I'm saying? Archie?
No.
Yeah, he's going to be killed off in a July issue. Comic book fans around the world are actually stunned.
That's tragic.
Well, they didn't know Archie comics were even still around. Also, Sergei Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, says that the Ukraine cannot survive as a unified state. However, he insisted that Russia has no desire to invade. Those Russian tanks approaching the eastern border of Ukraine are just part of the Olympic closing ceremony anyway, so let's not mix up the public. And coming back over into our country, Wall Street, the Wall Street Journal, they added an obituary page to highlight the careers of the great men of the New York Stock Exchange. They actually listed 3 deaths Monday. The first guy had cancer at 70. The second guy had a heart attack at 80. And the third guy, he had General Motors at 90. So there you go. Yeah, well, what can I say about it? I lost a few bucks on that stock. I got out a pretty good time, though. Oakland A's. In the news, as they always are. It's either good or bad sometimes. They actually had to cancel a game after the stadium toilets overflowed and spilled out onto the concourse. The same thing happened in July. The team is picking up extra money by permitting Carnival Cruise Lines to stage their evacuation drills at the stadium between innings. And I'm not bullshitting when I'm telling you that. Also, rest in peace. Who died? Who else? What little short actor died that's been around for years and years? I think he was like 93.
Mickey Rooney.
Mickey Rooney, not Andy Rooney, folks. He's been dead for a while. Mickey Rooney, film pioneer. Mickey Rooney passed away, yeah. Film pioneer. He died at his home in Studio City, 93 years old. The Mick, he was married 8 times. Once to Ava Gardner, who later married Frank Sinatra. Now, that makes Ava the only person who ever managed to slip Frank a Mickey. Did you get that? Slip Frank a Mickey? Thank you. And lastly, while he was on stage in Las Vegas, somebody snuck into Willie Nelson's tour bus and they snatched his pet mascot. And it was a stuffed armadillo. Now, we're not saying what it's stuffed with, but it's twisted at both ends and was prescribed by Willie's doctor. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the way we see the news in and around the world on the Foxxcast. And when we come back, oh yeah, we're going to have some fun. We're going to banter. We're going to find out some more about alternative lifestyles of Natty C. We're going to please Paullywood's gullet with some right-in-your-face questions in your crotch, whatever you want to say. And, of course, we've got our vaginal commentary, all kind of good stuff coming up. So stick around here to Foxxcast. It's RenegadeTalkRadio.com. We're glad you're here, and you will be too when we get back. Stay tuned.
We'll be back with more of the RaunchFoxxFoxxcast here on Renegade Talk Radio. No whims. You know if you belong. Stay tuned.
Walmart has bought out Armé, Maybelline, Clinique, Revlon, CoverGirl, and Sephora and captured the scent of the working woman everywhere. Introducing
discrimination.
What does overworked and underpaid smell like?
Discrimination.
After making $14 a day unpacking heavy boxes for 18 hours with no lunch break, all women want to do is spray on a little
discrimination.
Walmart's beauty experts have captured the angry female pheromones of real Walmart employees and combined them with natural scents like stale hot dogs, baby formula, discount holiday decorations, and of course,
discrimination.
So stop complaining, ladies, and pick up a bottle today. Discrimination is available in all Walmart stores, Sam's Clubs, and gas stations. Discrimination is a non-gender biased scent.
Get ready to achieve multiple eargasms with the biggest stroke job in cyberspace. If the microphone was a clit, none of you bitches would complain about a long, drawn-out speech. RaunchFoxx and the cyber sickness, getting people off on their own computers.
Time now for everyone's favorite sitcom. It's Nappy Days.
Sunday, Monday,
Nappy Days.
Tuesday, Wednesday,
Nappy Days.
Thursday, Friday,
Nappy Days. Marion, I'm home.
Hi, Howard. How was your day?
Well, Marion, I quit my job.
Quit your job? What for?
My boss, he's a racist. You know what he said to me? Well, Howard, our company's in the black this year.
He said that to you?
Sure did. Say, Marion, I'm sure looking forward to our trip to Las Vegas.
Oh, we can't go to Las Vegas, Howard.
Well, how come, honey?
Why, it's full of racists. They even got a game called Blackjack.
What? Get Reverend Al on the phone, honey. Join us next time on Nappy Days when we'll hear Marion say,
Howard, our neighbor, Mr. Armis, is at the door. He's weeding his garden and wants to borrow our hoe.
The Maury Povich Show has joined forces with the national campaign to prevent teen and unplanned pregnancy. Maury urges teenagers to help ensure that children are born into stable, two-parent families who are committed to the demanding task of raising the next generation. However, if you are a teenage girl who is already pregnant,
We'll find out who the baby daddy is. It's more shocking DNA test results on the next Maury. Some radio stations are special. All you need to hear is the station name, and you know it's different from the rest. The music, the contests, the talent. And now, we return to the RaunchFoxx Cyber Sickness. It's no holds barred. We've been fucking the FCC since the FCC started fucking.
All right, everybody. Welcome back. RaunchFoxxFoxxcast. Oh, yeah, baby. RenegadeTalkRadio.com. It's episode number 8. And we've got Natty C and Paullywood here hanging tonight. We got a lot of fun things to talk about. We're gonna inform you. You're gonna go away from this show knowing a hell of a lot more than you did before you started listening. And some of that stuff you're probably going to be sorry that you even heard in the first place. But welcome back, everybody. So hello again, Natty and Paulie, and here we are together again. And of course, you know, for those of you who listened to the last podcast last week, we were talking about how parents beat their kids, and of course, we found out that Natty had her ass kicked a few times, apparently on undeserving, being an A student that she was, and Paulie got bitch slapped a few times too. And I told you a story about my father. He used to pull over and get a switch and have it in his hand when he was driving while we were in the back seat with the smoke billowing in the car with all the windows up. Kind of gross. And basically, Paulie heard a little bit about alternative lifestyles, isn't that right? I think that's what it was, wasn't it, Paulie, at the end of the show last week?
Well, I was starting to get there, but you know, we were short on time, and so you know, during the course of the week, you kind of made the promise to me that we'd be able to get back to that, and I've been so excited to dive into some of this material here.
Well, yeah, you're right. And now my mind does serve me well. And Natty, I think you were talking about some alternative statements that you made, and it got Paulie's attention. So I guess I'm going to let Paulie pick up and see if you can remember where you left off too, Natty, because inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much, Raunch, for handing me the whip, so to speak.
Be gentle.
Right, so, you know what kind of I'm curious about here, Natty. You know, first of all, we did discuss alternative lifestyles a couple weeks back, and we tried to touch on it a little bit last week. But could you expand on that just a little bit for me? Because, you know, when I think of alternative lifestyles, a lot of different things kind of come to mind. But since I'm left to my imagination, you're kind of a blank slate for me, and I'd kind of like to start filling in some of the details.
Yeah, yeah. Just pretend we're stupid and we're just little rookies, little boys that you're our submissive ways might handle the mistress. Yes.
Fortunately for me, I won't have to do too much pretending. But Natalie, is when it comes to the alternative lifestyle type thing, I mean, are you into both women and men? I mean, is that part of that whole alternative thing, or is it a little bit more than just that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's both men and women. And
shit. Other? Like what's left besides men and women?
Well, men, women, or men and women.
So like a little bit of a multiple partner type thing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, right. It's a Poles and Holes Express, everybody. Which I'm not adverse to. Okay, so go ahead. So when what was your first experience? Let's go all the way back. Were you legal?
No. I was 17.
17. You were at the family picnic. Uncle Bobby came up. No, really. What happened?
No, I was 17. I was at a college party. I mean, bear in mind, this is, I was a gifted student, expedited through the whole academic system. So I graduated early, did everything early.
I was wondering what you're doing with the college kiddies. Okay. Well, I was 6'4" at 15 years old hanging in nightclubs, so I can feel you just a little bit. Go ahead.
Yep. So I'm hanging out. I was studying radio and television broadcasting, hanging out with all my peeps, and we were at a party, and one thing led to another, and next thing you know, I was, hanging out with some girlfriends, and that was the first experience.
Well, wait a second. Just hanging out with girlfriends isn't necessary.
No.
Yeah, Paulie's like, he's way past penthouse letters, and Harlequin novels. He wants to, he wants to hear about it. So there I was 17. This girl's titties were in my face. I'm sorry. I took it away from you. My bad.
Well,
exactly.
Actually, that's pretty much how it happened. I had never had.
Don't mind me.
Easy does it, big guy. Easy does it.
All right, I'll slow down. I got 20 minutes.
I'd never had any kinds of experiences like that before, and so having this beautiful girl.
No, that's not good enough. Head to toe, what she look like?
She looked a lot like me.
Oh, well, you said beautiful, yeah. Okay,
which is kind of weird. So when people tell me to go fuck myself, I say I already have.
What do you think about that, Sean Connery? Sean Connery, what do you think about that? Yeah, I know. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and so that was my experience. I mean, she was just gorgeous.
Well, who was the aggressor, though? You're sitting there being all stupid, and they came on to you?
She sure did. I wasn't being stupid. I was just being aloof. And, I was the new girl to the group. I didn't know anybody from Adam. And she approached me and, started grinding on me. And one thing led to another. And, of course, we didn't go, all the way, so to speak, the first time. But there was a lot of heavy petting and kissing involved. And I realized, I kind of like this.
You kissed the girl and you liked it. Exactly. I get it. Wow. So it's a whole new experience. You went home and you wouldn't tell your dad. He whipped your ass.
Man, yeah, he absolutely would have. Yeah, so no. The family, if anyone from my family is listening to this, which is doubtful.
I can arrange it.
They can't connect the dots between Natty C and who I really am.
Right.
It's virtually impossible.
Oh,
right?
I thought NR stood for noise reduction. What do I know? Wow. So that was a girl thing, right? So then when do you get into unisex?
So that was much, much later. All
right, let's skip ahead. Move ahead 2 days. All right.
Well, it was at least 4, but but honestly, later on in my life, after I had learned myself and what I liked, and having had experienced many different women and many different men, I really was intrigued by the idea of polyamory.
Yes, polyamory. That's the word. That's right. It's got nothing to do with your fucking parrot's nickname.
Nope, that's right. And so that's certainly been a part of my life for many, many years now.
So polyamory segues and goes right into the marriage community or relationship community with a specific other. Mm-hmm. Paulie, are you still working it, or are you listening?
I'm still here. But
there you are. Okay.
Hands free. They're free now. So let's see. Following, I'm actually really still more kind of curious about the first experience, but we can get back to that another time. So when you had your first experience with a guy, I mean, you know, straight up with a guy, when you were deflowered, so to speak, how old were you?
It's funny, I had my first experience with a girl before I had my first real experience with a guy. I was 19.
Okay. There you go.
Yep.
Now, were you more nervous the first time with the guy or with the girl?
With a guy, absolutely. Yeah, with a girl, it felt completely natural. And honestly, there was no fear of that pain issue that's associated with being deflowered.
So are you saying that you were deflowered by a strap-on?
No.
You sure? I mean, you said the girl, you know what I mean? I don't know what you did with the chick. I don't know if somebody was, had an extra belt and...
No, fingers don't count. They don't deflower anything.
Really? Honey, fingers do count. I'm 6'10". All right, so anyway, go ahead.
But no, certainly it felt more natural with a woman. No question.
Wow.
Yeah.
And here it is. So you were 17. So here it is 12 years later. You're 29. And
I love you.
And
29.
And what's the attitude now? Is it still? Do you have any favorites, or do you still feel the same way, or is there an equal attraction now?
There's an attraction for different reasons. Obviously, I love men. Men have a certain aggression about them, and obviously they have an implement that women don't naturally have. There's no replacement for a natural penis. I don't care who you talk to.
Hold on a minute. Hey, Ron Jeremy. Yeah, cancel the order. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But no, I love them both. And if I can have them both at once, I'm even happier.
So you say, I mean, you mentioned that, that there's no substitute, for the natural implement, but I would assume, therefore, that you've experimented with toys or for that matter, have moved beyond the experimentation stage. How does a vibrator match or measure up to, the real thing? I mean, what do you find to be the main difference?
Well, I think that a tool or a vibrator or a dildo, I mean, that's fine if you're planning on just doing some solo handiwork. It'll get the job done. But it's always best if it's coupled with actual real activity with a partner. And so I like to use them in tandem. So I'd love to use one of my many vibrators, while I'm actually having penetrative sex with my partner.
Wow, one of many.
Paulie, she's trying to be all nice. This is Renegade. What she's saying is she's stimulating the fucking clit. She's getting her pussy pounded, and she's even got a fucking ass teaser. Come on, dude. Stick with the game here. Don't fuck all the straight talking shit. We're talking about triple shit. Forget the jelly-filled doll. Forget. I want the multi-attachment shit. Come on, let's go.
I do have to say, for the longest time, I balked at the idea of the bullet. Have you guys heard of the bullet?
Yeah, it's the little concealed little toy that's so convenient. The only thing I like better than that is the remote control panties, and that's another story, another life. Go ahead.
For the longest time, I thought, what is this little metal thing going to do, really? I mean, what a joke. And so I never bought one. And through Adam and Eve, I ended up getting one free with one of my orders to add to my portfolio. And I tried it out just the other night, and the fucking thing blew my mind within literally 38 seconds. It was insane. So anybody out there that has any reservations about investing in a bullet, do it. You will not be disappointed.
Well, how big is a bullet? I mean, I've never seen one. To be honest with you,
it's your size, Paulie.
What's that?
It's your size. How big is it, Natty?
That's more like of a bazooka loader. But no, seriously, I mean, honestly, I bought my girlfriend a rabbit a couple years ago, and then when we broke up, she gave it to me, and it's been sitting in a drawer just kind of gathering dust, and she kind of liked the damn thing, but I wasn't going to leave her with it. But how big is a bullet, and how do you go about using the thing? I mean, just kind of give me an idea if you don't mind.
So it's about 2 inches.
Like I said,
and it's
Paulie.
exactly what it's. It's a silver bullet-looking thing. And you place it wherever you want to have. I mean, the best place obviously is above the clit, and then it has various speeds and intensities that you can mess around with, while you're doing your thing, and you find the right speed and intensity, and boom. I mean, it's magic.
Natalie wasn't always that educated, though. The first time she wanted to use a silver bullet, she almost froze her pussy with a can of Coors.
I believe it was Molson Canadian, Ray, but you're close.
That's exciting.
She likes a little bit of exotic in her diet. So
yeah. Next thing you know, she's going to tell us she was sucking on a little moose head, you know? All right. So, Paulie, are you getting your fill so far? Pardon my French.
Well, we're getting there. We're getting there. Let me ask this, though. You had your first experience with a girl when you were 17. Had you, kind of played with yourself beforehand? I mean, when did you experience your first orgasm? And was it something that you kind of achieved on your own?
Yeah, the first one was definitely on my own. I was probably 14, and I had been experimenting, trying to figure out, what that magic moment was that I read about in all those magazines and all those, erotica novels that I would read. So yeah, probably about 14, and it was on my own.
Did you have any kinky experiences with relatives?
No.
Were you ever approached by any crazy uncles or distant cousins?
Crazy uncles, yes.
Oh, shit. All right, we're going to switch gears now. Ladies and gentlemen, this is, once again, Renegade Talk Radio, where now we're going to get into La Familia.
Oh, man.
Yeah, creepy uncles, yes, no question.
So where were you? And without dropping names, what was it? Was it like a family reunion? Was it an outing? Was it a one-on-one and all of a sudden you're cornered with a relative? Go ahead. People want to know.
Yeah. So you have to understand, I come from a huge family. So my mother has, north of 10 siblings. And so they all have spouses and they all have a million kids. And so this was one of those things where it was a massive family reunion. And this was, I guess he wasn't really my uncle anymore. He was the ex-husband of one of my aunts, and he was always kind of creepy.
By marriage, okay, a by marriage dude, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and so not by blood, thank God.
Right.
But yeah, no, he definitely approached me when we were at this family barbecue / reunion thing, and made commentary about how how you've grown, you're such a beautiful young lady, and ended up pinching my ass at some point in the night after he'd had a couple.
How old were you? How old?
I was 16.
Okay, were you already filling out?
Oh, yeah. I mean, certainly not to the extent that I am now with all the fake shit I have in my body, but
right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so he pinched your caboose. Pinched the caboose, and then what happened?
Well, and that was the end of that. I shut that down real quick, but certainly tried. And I often think back to that strange moment and wonder if I hadn't been as assertive as I was, and self-assured, what might have happened. But that was weird.
Yeah,
that was really weird.
I can see it now. Daddy comes around the corner, sees that shit, is like, yeah.
Well, yeah, and then I get my ass kicked too, right? So.
Oh yeah, it's your fault. It's your fault for leading him on. Yeah, right.
Right, exactly.
Can't be that. Yeah. Wow. So we got into that. Now tell us about the first group session where you were like completely man and woman handled.
So that was
nice exhale.
Deep exhale. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. It's been quite some time. That was probably 6 or 7 years ago.
Oh, okay. And
yep.
So, you set it up. You got to set it up because, people aren't watching. They're listening.
Mm-hmm. So this was one of those things where, when you're part of, it's called the lifestyle. When you are, a swinger or polyamorous or whatever the case may be, it's this whole subculture, and so there's a rhythm and a rote to finding people to hang out with that participate in the lifestyle, and there are certain forums and such that you make use of in order to find people of like mind.
Right,
and
you got to gel, kind of like radio hosts. You got to gel. You know if you are going to work together, how it's going to work out. You got to feel it. Exactly. So it's kind of funny. You date. And it's kind of weird. I mean, you have couples that are dating and you're feeling each other out and you're getting to know one another and, what makes you tick and what makes you, click and what turns you off. And you kind of know, throughout the course of the courtship, whether it's something that's going to move forward or not. And that's kind of how it happened. It was a dating courtship process. And we found a couple that was of like mind and, obviously was attractive and shared the same interests. And, we made it happen. But I'll tell you what, that was probably the single most challenging point in my relationship was after that happened. As far as what? Facing the hubby and saying, okay, we did it happened?
Yep. And so you have all these preparatory conversations, we're going to do this. It's going to be okay.
Right, your roles. You got to have your boundaries. Yeah, go ahead.
Yep, we're ready. We can do this. We have the strength of relationship and all that stuff. There's absolutely nothing that's going to prepare you for that moment.
Right.
And so for me, it was always a really, massive turn on at the idea that I would see my partner with somebody else.
That was one of my questions.
Yeah, that I didn't really struggle with that, but the opposite was not true for him. And so we had to deal with those demons after the fact. I mean, when you think about the idea of seeing your partner, your life partner with somebody that's not you, and actually seeing it from a different point of view, it can really do a lot of damage if you don't manage it right.
So was he as upset when you were with her versus him, of the other guy?
Oh, more so him. Yeah.
Of course. Well,
no question. No question. Yep. Yeah, seeing me with her was hot, right? That's sexy. That's porn. That's more mainstream. But then seeing your partner with another man is a bit of a mind fuck.
And how about you when you saw your partner with another man?
That didn't happen.
Oh. Well, I don't know what's fair is fair, but I had to ask. Okay, all right, got it. So
yeah.
So Pauly.
I can totally relate. There was one time when I was just about to turn 21. I had a girlfriend who was 17, and she was going into the Navy. We were in the back seat of a car driving on the highway, and she turned to me and she said, remember how you said that if you were ever going to have share me with another guy, that it would be this one or somebody else, and this one happened to be in the back seat? And I said, yeah, and I kind of knew where we were going. And so I said, well, how about tonight? So the three of us grabbed a tent, and we went out back into the woods, and we put her between the two of us, and we started doing our thing. And, at first it really wasn't all that bad because, I kind of got the first go-around with her and everything. But then, he was taking his turn. And that's when, I kind of started to dislike it a little bit. And I was thinking to myself, man, I'm not so sure that this was such a great idea, but I let the thing play out. And, in the morning we packed up and we left and everything. And as she and I were walking back to my house, we kind of had to stop on the side of the road and have a little bit of a discussion because she could tell that it had upset me a little bit and that, it kind of bothered me. And, granted, it was something that kind of came and passed. I think that night we ended up going to a party, getting really, really drunk, and then just kind of spontaneously screwing on one of the people's front yards in our neighborhood. So
Pauly, So Pauly, let me ask you a question. Was there a time then when you were doing the sandwich thing in the tent and you reached down to do whatever to her and you grabbed a couple balls? It can happen, especially if you guys aren't used to working each other. You're thinking you're going to get down there and get busy, and he's behind her hitting a doggy style, and you're like, what the fuck? Somebody's already here.
It was more like an Eiffel Tower situation when I was at one end and he would be at the other so that there would be no, potential for contact in that regard. So, you kind of had it managed.
Yeah.
Well.
You could have got her up on her knees and had her up on her knees, and she's sucking him off, and you're doing her doggy style. And, think about it. You got her back there. You can play blackjack. You can set your drink down. You can high five each other.
Well, that's what we did was, you get that high five type thing going to form the actual Eiffel Tower. It's a visual thing, but we were in the dark. We don't know really what was going on, but no, there was never any nut on nut contact or anything like that. It was never anything. And honestly, I'm as straight as an arrow. So we had to kind of do it in the dark because if we'd seen each other naked, it probably would have ruined the moment. So
that's okay. That's an honesty. Okay. Well, I got to respect him for your honesty there.
Yeah. No, well, hey, this is the Raunch Fox show, man. We don't sugarcoat anything.
So he wasn't like super hung, whereas you were out in the woods and you thought, well, wait a minute, we got in this tent. I don't remember this fucking tree being here. So you were okay with that, right? Was she like getting all excited with this dude in front of you?
That was basically the problem. On my best day, I'm just slightly above average, and he is, a little bit even better than that. So,
okay.
That was probably what kind of set me off was that, she was reacting a little bit, more to him than I had expected. And it bothered me a little bit. So I told myself, well, if I ever do go this way again, I'm definitely going to make certain that the third person involved is a midget or Asian or
yeah, but have you ever seen these midgets with 12-inch dicks? But Paulie, just not to bust your bubble, to keep you happy and keep the glass half full, it may have been that she was turned on knowing that you were watching. It could have been all about you and not him at all.
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
Paulie.
Aren't you guys sweet for saying so? But I mean, the old midget play, it just never really works with me. I'm well aware of what I've got, and I know that, on me it looks kind of unusual because I'm a really skinny guy, and, it kind of looks like a tree trunk standing on the edge of a sapling. But But the idea is that, it just, I didn't really quite know how to take it. And it was really more of like, a present to her than anything else. And she never really did pay me back by bringing in one of her girlfriends. But,
no. I think, then you should have just put a bucket on her head and let the sap run out. Yeah, well, anyway.
Well, Paulie, here's a consolation prize for you. If ever you do decide to pursue this again, I have an Asian stalker by the name of Hung Fat, who could probably make you look like a fucking rock star. So if ever that comes up again, let me know, and I'll put you guys in connect.
There you go, Paulie.
The next time I get into any kind of polyamorous situation, I want to be certain that the odds are against me, and I want to be battling, two females. And I don't ever really need to share another woman again. That's an experience I have in the book, and it stays there. I've been close to getting it with a couple of women, but it never really just kind of panned out the way I'd hoped it would. So,
wow. Well, listen, that was a cool conversation. We got to just keep bringing another chapter every week with this thing, huh?
I'm down.
Yes.
All right. So there you go, Renegade Nation. We're finding things out about each and every one of the other two people. So keep it where you got it. We'll be back with a little bit more. We got Paulie going to talk about some blood red things. And, of course, we're not talking about his penis. But we'll be back with more right after this. It's a Renegade Talk Radio. I can't even talk. I'm so excited. RaunchFoxxFoxxcast right here. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
Verbal abuse from the world's largest net shock jock, 6'10" Raunch Fox. He's nuts over you. Well, actually, most people.
When I found that 27 is the new 67, it got me thinking about my golden years. That's when I found 27th Heaven Retirement Home.
At 27th Heaven Retirement Home, old age starts the minute our doorman decides to let you in.
There are so many activities, I didn't know what to try first.
27th Heaven Retirement Home is more than a home, it's a community. Along with other seniors, you can enjoy boogie boarding, bungee jumping, and even the giant hot tub.
Hello, girl.
Come on in. We're so lonely and wet.
There's disco night with free shots for the first 50 ladies, mixed martial arts on the big screen, and beer pong.
Drink.
So don't let turning 27 slow you down. Now, old age begins when you retire at 27th Heaven Retirement Home.
Hey, this is Vince for Scam Wow. And if you're a crooked financier, you'll say wow every time with Scam Wow. It's a chamois that cleans up scams. You don't want to end up like that Madoff guy, do you? So use your Scam Wow to soak up funds, liquid assets, leaky alibis. You following me there, Ponzi scheme guy? Your associates are spilling the beans to the feds. Clean up the spill with Scam Wow. Made on Wall Street. You know Wall Street always does good stuff. Your investors are wiped out. You wipe it up with Scam Wow. Guaranteed to last for a 150-year sentence. That's the Scam Wow. Order now.
And now, back to the only white man that made Shaquille O'Neal look away in the men's locker room. Raunch Fox, packing more penis than a Lance Bass Elton John sausage fest.
All right, everybody. Hello once again. Raunch Fox with you on the RaunchFoxxFoxxcast, Renegade Talk Radio. Listen, if you like what you hear, you can certainly always download us You can check us out. You can go to iTunes. You can go to Podomatic.com. You can go to Stitcher.com. You can go to RenegadeTalkRadio.com or hear the latest episode of the RaunchFoxxFoxxcast at RaunchFox.com with 3 X's. So right now, let's get back. We've got Paullywood coming up here. So why wait, Paullywood? You are the master of disaster. You are the smoke screen machine, and all the conspiracy theories. We like to, it's sometimes we can't keep it timely because there's not a whole lot of stuff going on. But it's, even after hundreds or thousands of years, I understand you got something to talk about now that still has a little conspiracy theory behind it, but also stuff that's actually happened and stuff that's actually already happened in history. Why don't you tell everybody about it? I want to hear what you got.
Well, this was something that you had brought to my attention with a post you'd made on Facebook regarding a book that Pastor John Hagee has out regarding a blood moon tetrad. Now, for those who don't know, a blood moon tetrad is an occurrence which happens during the course of 2 years where there are 4 blood moons. And for those who don't know, a blood moon is essentially it's a phenomenon that can be observed here on Earth. From the moon in the sky during the course of which a full moon appears as red as blood. And it's kind of more of an atmospheric event than anything else, but it also has to do with the alignment of the moon and the sun and everything else. And there's usually an eclipse that sandwiches these 4 blood moon occurrences. Well, this year, going into 2015, there are going to be 4 blood moons, and they're all going to fall on and around Jewish feast days.
Oy.
And the reason that I bring this up during my segment this week is because the kind of conspiracy end of it is twofold. Now, the first of which, it's important to first point out that in this book, John Hagee brings up and points out 6 different occurrences of a blood moon tetrad that have aligned themselves with what he considers to be historically significant events, either in world history or, for that matter, in history as it relates to the Jewish people. The first of which is a tetrad that occurred between April 2nd of 1493 and September 15th of 1494, where there were 4 blood moons, and they occurred during the course of the Spanish Inquisition. And then the second, of course, is one that occurred in 1948 to 1949, when the Tetrad actually occurred on April 13th of 1949, ending with September 25th of 1950. And the historical significant event that he correlates to this is the reformation of Israel and its acceptance as statehood. And for most biblical scholars and evangelical Christians, they view the reformation or the restoration of the Israeli state as a sign of God's coming judgment. And then he also points out the June 5th, 1967 Six-Day War that occurred between the blood moons of April 24th, 1967 and October 6th, 1968. And these are the ones that are the most significant. Now, the reason that I bring this up, and this is really more of me debunking a lot of his theories than anything else. This isn't necessarily me lending credibility to, what I see as a viable conspiracy.
Okay.
More than anything else, I believe that what he's trying to do is sell his book right now. And I found it kind of odd that Fox News was willing to kind of take it seriously and give it a little bit of coverage. But since we've been entering, since we passed really the year 2000, year 2001, we've had so many various different disasters visited upon us that it's become popular, like you've mentioned before, among conspiracy theorists and people of that ilk, that we may very well be in the prophesized end times.
Right.
And so that's pretty much the whole reason why John Hagee has published this book. And what I think he's done is kind of conveniently reverse engineered events through history. And looking just at the dates, it doesn't really seem to make a whole lot of sense to somebody who's just kind of looking at it at face value. For example, the first, the really significant one is the 6-Day War. Yes, this did occur during the Tetrad. So this is the one that may have the most credibility of it, but it's the only one. It's the only example that seems to have any kind of credibility to it. The others, for the example, the Spanish Inquisition was something that lasted nearly 400 years. I mean, we're talking literally, a 300-plus year sequence of events where the Spanish crown was expelling Jews from the country. And the Tetrad occurred, fairly late during the course of that whole event. And then, the Inquisition carried on for several hundred years. The 6-Day War is really the only one that has any kind of credibility, because the one that he tries to attribute to the Reformation of Israel happens 2 years after the fact. So to me, it doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense the way he kind of strings together these facts. And tries to, associate the blood moon with any kind of prophecy or any kind of significance to the Jewish people. Now, one of the things that I also found kind of interesting is that the Jewish religion operates on a lunar calendar. So the idea that these types of occurrences would fall during Jewish feast days is really more almost a given. Because of the way that they mark the calendar and because of the way that they celebrate these things, they happen around full moons.
Well, let me say this, Paulie. I get it with the full moon, yeah, but it seems like also, at least seems like the first one in these cycles that come around, they're always starting around April, right?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. In the earlier part of the year, and like I say, it's a 2-year period that these things take place.
Right. So in this case, it's going to be 2014 and 2015 because we got one coming up, right?
Yes, and the last would be, somewhere towards the end of September on Rosh Hashanah.
Okay, so stop right there for a minute. Hold your train of thought, because, I want to interject, because everybody's thinking right now, and Natty, I'm sure you're thinking too. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now, and there's a lot of, I call it misdirection. I think that they're giving credit to a lot of stuff in the news that really doesn't need to be on the front page every single day when you've got even more important stuff going on. And all of a sudden, the Ukraine was a big deal, and all of a sudden now it's, what happened? What happened? Oh, we're back to the Malaysian plane. What happened? What happened? Yep. Oh, we're back to this. So we're just getting jerked around and jerked around and jerked around, and all of a sudden, before we know it, what are we looking at? April 15th, right?
Yeah.
And that's going to be the first blood moon. So if you think about it, look at, and I got to agree, Natty, with what he's saying. The guy that wrote the book, I mean, and you've got a lot to go with the Jewish holidays and the lunar calendar. But my God, this year it's a feast. You can pick anything that's going on and just extrapolate that and carry it past April 15th and say, look at the blood moon. This is what's happening.
Exactly.
Well, and beyond that, maybe the fact, like I say, that Fox News even gave 10 minutes to discuss this kind of thing, it's one of those dog wagging the tail type of events. I mean, I kind of wonder if the powers that be are actually planning to do something.
Yeah, let's instill a little fear and wonder what's going to happen. Let's use Fox News to do it, because so far we've been stringing people along with the Malaysian airliner. I don't want to get into that right now. But let's throw another curve and let's hit him with the blood moon. Let's just make sure that the sheep are always living in just a little bit of fear and looking over their shoulder.
Wow, Raunch, you hit it. You hit the nail square on the head. I mean, quite frankly, it's like, well, we've got this excuse now. We can get everybody all nice and paranoid and ready for something bad to happen. And then we can point to this and say, oh, look, this has to be a sign of the times that we're in. And, this has to be a sign of God's judgment. So, to me, it just kind of takes all credibility away from what is little more than a publicity stunt to sell books.
And how convenient with Israel and Palestine and all the other things going on, and taking it back to the Jewish holidays. Oh, gee, how convenient with the things that are going on in the East and so on and so forth. Gee, how convenient, because here's another blood moon. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. All the world powers, right? The world governments all together going, you got something to talk about the blood moon? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So now it's time to scare the shit out of the whole world.
That's right. Let's get them ready for whatever it is that we actually have planned, and let's create the mindset ahead of time that this is in some way, shape, or form, a divine decision that is
I hope it is, and I hope that Obama gets to be the president to disclose aliens. But that's just me.
Well, how can we predict at this point? And there was also some interesting stuff that was kind of coming up in the news, how they're bringing up some of the speeches that Bill Clinton had made, and he was recently on Jimmy Kimmel's show talking about what he'd seen down at Area 51, and he kind of attributed that whole thing to being just a cover for our stealth technology. And he says that there are no aliens down there at Area 51, but the common theme that they continuously bring up.
Wait a minute. Who said that? You say Clinton?
Yes.
Well, gee, isn't that funny, though? Because when Clinton was in office, it wasn't a whole lot about UFOs. But then after he was out of office, he wanted to find things about UFOs or potential extraterrestrials. And the response he got was, well, we're sorry. That's on a need-to-know basis, and you are no longer the president. Therefore, you don't need to know.
Well, he waited until his second term to actually even make that trip down to Area 51 in the first place. And it was part of kind of his primary election campaign.
But here's the problem. Here's the problem. I just threw out aliens, and we're completely off topic now. Let's get back to the blood moon because we got 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess. I kind of really covered everything that I wanted to say about the blood moon. I mean, I think I kind of wrapped it up kind of nicely. I mean, really, to me, it's just a ploy to sell books at this point. We're going to be able to see it.
We're going to be able to see it with the naked eye in North America. It's going to be very, very visual this year.
Yeah, the moon is going to look as if it's the color of blood, and there's even going to be a lunar eclipse somewhere between, two of these eclipses and the following two. So it's going to be kind of like a 5 sequence of events here. There'll be 2.
Well, Natty, you're being awful quiet. What do you think about this whole mess? We need your voice in here.
I'm just listening. Listen, I agree with everything you said, Raunch. Honestly, I feel like it is absolute misdirection. And honestly, you can take any little nugget and you can extrapolate it, and you can turn a story into out of virtually anything.
That's right, especially the first time you had an extra dick in the house. I mean, I get it. So, but wow, I can't wait. I want to see this. I'll be honest with you. I want to see the phenomenon more than worrying about something bad happening.
Right. Exactly.
But I'm not going to lie to you. It's still in the back of my head. I'm wondering, what the hell could possibly happen? And
how much worse can things get down here, really?
That's right. Exactly. China they're going to pull the pink slip or what? So who knows what's going to happen? So I guess we're just going to have to wait and find out because, let's see, the 12th is Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So this time next week, we'll be able to talk about it.
That's right.
So, Paulie, be ready to bring it back, man. Man, I wish that, what we're going to have to do is also a Renegade Nation, Natty C, myself, and Paulie. We're going to start doing some videos and throwing them up on the Renegade Talk Radio YouTube site so you can actually see us. And we're going to do a little bantering back and forth in addition to the podcast so you get to know everybody better. On the website that we have being made, we're going to have some nice biography pages, autobiography pages, whatever, descriptive pages for each and every person so you can know a little bit about us as well. And, of course, I always like to know. And, we want to get up close and personal. If you want to follow me on Twitter, certainly it's RaunchFoxx with 3 X's, RaunchFoxx at Twitter. On YouTube, it's RaunchFoxx. On Skype, it's RaunchFoxx. And Paulie, or let's say, Natty, if someone wants to find you on social media, how about you? How about a Twitter or something?
I have my Natty C Facebook page, so just look up Natty C Talk Radio and you'll find me.
Natty C, Natty space C. And how about you, Paulie?
Well, what kind of a conspiracy nut would I be if I didn't make myself completely and totally unavailable and try to hide myself from the powers that be? I think the less exposure I get, the better. With my theories and with my beliefs, those kind of things make me an enemy of the state. And the less information and the less of a trail out there to find me, the better.
Because you guys, you're going to be bringing it. You're going to turn some heads. We're going to be bringing some guests up in here that are going to be turning heads with have a whole different way of thinking. Is the Earth round? Does the Earth even spin? Does the universe go out? Or are we living inside a concave Earth versus a convex Earth versus a concave Earth? We got all kind of theories out there, and we're going to be bringing some of those people to the show. And that's exactly what we want to bring. So with that, as we can see, we're out of time, and it's all because of fucking Natty and her fucking little sex thing going on.
Dirty Natty.
Yeah, it's Natty's fault, just like your old man. So I guess we're going to have to spank you, Natty. Yeah,
Well, I can handle it a little bit better now.
Naughty Natty.
That's right. Well, listen, Natty, thank you so much. Again, I guess we'll have to just keep digging and think about the sick stuff in our lives. And everybody listening, you can reflect back to those crazy moments as well. And if you have something that you want to contribute to a podcast, send me an email at RaunchFoxx@gmail.com with 3 X's, RaunchFoxx@gmail.com. Tell us who you are, what part of the world you're listening from, and what you'd like to talk about. And we will call you and record a session with any of these crazy things that we talk about, and you can be right here on the podcast with us. So, until next week, that wraps up another segment here of RaunchFoxxFoxxcast on RenegadeTalkRadio.com. Be sure to listen to Richie and Marla. They're crazy. And, of course, we've got our congressman out there to be in Connecticut, and that's Carl Higbie, Higbie. If you don't know the ex-Navy SEAL or you don't know anything about him, Google his name. I encourage you to do it right now. Go to Google and Google Carl Higbie, Higbie, ex-Navy SEAL. Got a lot to say and trying to get a congressional seat over there in Connecticut. This guy fears no one, and he brings it, and he will take on as many people as he can to get to where he wants to be. So with that, everybody, we want to thank you for listening. I'm Raunch Fox. This is the RaunchFoxxFoxxcast right here on Renegade Talk Radio. We'll see you next week, Natty. Thank you so much, Natty. Thank you, Paulie.
Anytime.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Thanks again. Have a great day, everybody.